Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. Chief Seattle. I can't think of a better saying, a better opening for the topic that I'm about to talk about. But Chief Seattle's quote can be interpreted to mean many things. He could be talking about the environment, each other, or other species that occupy this great planet. That is why I chose his quote to open my speech about animal cruelty. Cruelty to animals is not a crime just against animals, but it's a crime against humanity. Animal rights is the idea that all non-human animals are entitled to the possession of their own lives and their basic interests, such as not suffering, and should be considered as the similar interest of humans. However, critics of animal rights state that animals are unable to enter into a social contract and therefore are not entitled to possess their own rights. The idea that humans are superior over animals can be traced back to the first book. The book of Genesis states, Adam is given dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Animal rights have been rooted in our history even as far back as 580 BCE. Pythagoras urged the respect for animals, believing that human and non-human souls were reincarnated from human to animal and vice versa. Theophrastus, who was a student of Aristotle in 370 BCE, urged that animals had reason and was opposed to eating meat on the grounds that it robbed them of life and was therefore unjust. Even sometime during 234 to 305 CE, Porphyry wrote 2 books on abstinence from animal food and on abstinence from killing animals. But the first known legislation in the English-speaking world was passed in 1635 in Ireland. It prohibited the pulling off of the wool of the sheep and from attaching plows to the horse's tail, stating that it was cruel to the beasts themselves. Animal rights legislations, laws, debates, arguments, and activists continued through the 17th and 18th century and on into the 21st century and remain a constant controversy today. There are many laws in many states and countries that have been passed, so many that it's impossible to list them all here. But the laws are hard to uphold, and it's hard to prosecute, but the numbers are increasing every day. According to the Humane Society, the most common victims of animal cruelty, as reported by the media in 2007, were dogs. Of the 1,880 cruelty cases reported, 64.5% were dogs, 18% cats, and 25% were other animals such as fowl and horses. Animal abuse not only occurs to the domesticated animal, but to the livestock who are raised and slaughtered for our human consumption. There have been many reports of slaughterhouses and farms neglectfully raising these animals in inhumane ways, but it's difficult to stop and prosecute because of current laws on the books today and in many states. In Indiana, Arkansas, and Pennsylvania, it's illegal to actually videotape in these slaughterhouses. And in bills pending in California, Nebraska, and Tennessee requires that anyone who has any evidence has to turn this over to the law enforcement within 24 hours. The laws want to protect the animals, but the slaughter industries, the meat industries, they want to protect their businesses, and the widespread abuse in the agricultural industry is hard to stop. Cruelty to animals is a serious matter that should not be ignored, mainly because of its link to other serious forms of violence. In 1987, physical cruelty to animals was added to the list of symptoms for the diagnosis of CD, which is conduct disorder, in the American Psychiatric Association's edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. It has been suggested that 25% of the children diagnosed with CD exhibited animal cruelty, and that animal cruelty may be the earliest detectable symptom of CD. As was in the case of an 11-year-old girl in the UK who strangled 2 children aged 3 and 4. It was discovered later that she had a history of strangling cats and pigeons, but because it was not a list on the list of symptoms for CD at that time, it was hard to diagnose. A study by the Chicago Police Department between 2001 and 2004 revealed a startling propensity for offenders charged with crimes against animals to commit other violent offenses toward human victims. Of the individuals arrested for crimes against animals, 65% had been arrested for battery against another person. Of 36 convicted multiple murders, when asked if they had committed acts of animal torture, 46% had admitted that in fact they did. And of the 7 school shootings that took place from 1997 to 2001, which all involved boys, they had previously committed acts of animal cruelty. In a gold standard study conducted in 11 metro cities, researchers have found that 71 to 83% of women who enter domestic violence situations or shelters reported that their partners had also killed a family pet. Animal cruelty may seem to some as a victimless crime. If no humans have been hurt, while a dog has been left to starve, or while a cow has been forced by a forklift to the slaughterhouse because it can't stand anymore, then why should we care? Because a crime or abuse against one strand of the web of life is abuse or a crime against us all. Chief Seattle said it best: whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. A profound statement that, in my opinion, clearly backs up my statement that crimes against animals is also a crime against humanity. Thank you.